The date, May 22, 2025, will forever be etched into American history, a day when the nation's foundations trembled under concurrent crises. It began like any other day but rapidly descended into chaos, uncertainty, and profound concern. We witnessed a digital Pearl Harbor, an unprecedented act of violence within Congress, and the dramatic return of a former president, each event compounding the gravity of the others. The historical significance of this day cannot be overstated. It felt as though decades of simmering tensions culminated in a 24-hour period of intense national trauma. The sense of security that many Americans once took for granted evaporated, replaced by an unsettling awareness of the fragility of the systems they depend upon daily. Tonight, we delve into the intricate details of that fateful day, examining each crisis point, hearing from those on the ground, and seeking analysis from experts. The resilience of American democracy is being tested as never before. The crisis began in the digital realm as a massive cyber attack crippled critical infrastructure across 5 key states: California, New York, Texas, Florida, and Illinois. This was a catastrophic assault on the nation's power grids, designed to sow chaos and paralyze significant portions of the country. Reports flooded in of widespread blackouts, transportation systems grinding to a halt, and internet connectivity becoming sporadic and unreliable. The attackers, later suspected to be the Russian-backed group Zarya, executed the largest coordinated digital assault in U.S. history. Hospitals switched to overburdened backup generators, airports suspended operations, and state governments declared states of emergency. President Biden labeled the incident an act of hybrid warfare, convening an emergency meeting of the National Security Council. U.S. Cyber Command initiated counter-offensive protocols, and Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm and Homeland Security Director Alejandro Mayorkas urged calm and power conservation. The attack served as a brutal reminder of the ongoing shadow war in the digital domain. The question on everyone's mind was not just how to recover, but how to prevent such a devastating breach from ever happening again. As the nation grappled with the cyber catastrophe, a different shockwave emanated from Washington, D.C., within the U.S. Capitol. During a heated GOP caucus meeting, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy was physically assaulted by Representative Troy Nix, a member of the far-right Freedom Restoration Caucus. The attack left McCarthy injured, requiring medical attention. The incident sent shockwaves through Congress, with lawmakers expressing outrage and disbelief. Capitol Police detained Representative Nix, and bipartisan calls quickly mounted for his expulsion from Congress. This act of violence was not just an assault on an individual, it was an assault on the institution of Congress itself. A third major development sent further shockwaves across the nation: the return of former President Donald Trump to Washington, D.C. Standing outside the Capitol, Trump delivered a firebrand address, blaming the Biden administration for the cyber attack and the chaos in Congress. He declared, "Our country is collapsing before our eyes. It's time to restore law, order, and American strength. I'm ready to lead again." His speech was a political rally cry, further polarizing the nation. In an exclusive interview with Pulse News, Trump hinted at a potential 2028 presidential run, stating, "You'll see soon, but I can tell you this: I'm not done fighting for America." Trump's return to the Capitol on such a chaotic day was potent, representing a beacon of hope for his supporters and a deeply alarming development for his detractors. His presence ensured that the day's narrative would not only be about national security failures and political violence, but also about the enduring force of Donald Trump in American political life. The symbolism of Trump's return was potent, representing a beacon of hope for his supporters and a deeply alarming development for his detractors. His presence ensured that the day's narrative would not only be about national security failures and political violence, but also about the enduring force of Donald Trump in American political life. Donald Trump's dramatic reappearance on May 22nd highlighted the profound fractures within the Republican Party. His speech, delivered with the Capitol as a backdrop, signaled his intent to remain a dominant force in GOP politics. The timing, coinciding with the assault on Speaker McCarthy by a Trump-aligned congressman, underscored the deep ideological chasm within the party. Trump's political machine remains well-funded and agile, allowing him to exert considerable influence. The events of May 22nd served as a stark illustration of the internal struggle within the GOP. The battle for the soul of the GOP is far from over, suggesting a turbulent future for the Republican Party. The convergence of a crippling cyberattack, an assault on congressional leadership, and the divisive return of a former president ignited concerns about a potential constitutional crisis. Professor Leah Sandoval warned that this trifecta of events could challenge the very framework of American governance. Reports circulated that senior Democrats were discussing the possibility of invoking the 25th Amendment against Trump-aligned officials. GOP governors in Ohio and Arizona were allegedly considering delaying the 2026 midterm elections, citing the national emergency. The Department of Defense raised military readiness levels and conducted secret briefings with key international allies. The delicate balance of powers seemed to be under immense strain, pushing the nation towards an uncertain constitutional crossroads. Beyond the high-level political machinations, the events of May 22 had a profound impact on ordinary Americans, particularly in the 5 states targeted by the cyber attack. In Los Angeles, a children's hospital operated on backup generator power, with medical staff working tirelessly under immense strain. In Chicago, civil unrest and protests erupted as the blackouts dragged on, with reports of looting emerging from several districts. In Florida, long lines snaked from gas stations as residents rushed to fill their tanks, fearing prolonged outages. National Guard convoys distributed emergency supplies, painting a picture of a nation under duress. Major social media platforms worked with federal authorities to combat disinformation related to the cyber attacks and ensuing chaos. The challenge of controlling narratives in an era of instant communication further complicated crisis management. In the face of the multi-pronged assault, the U.S. government launched a wide-ranging response aimed at stabilizing the situation and reassuring the populace. President Biden's declaration of a national emergency unlocked federal resources and streamlined agency coordination. The national security apparatus went into overdrive, with the Pentagon elevating the DEFCON level and U.S. Cyber Command initiating counteroffensive protocols. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm and Homeland Security Director Alejandro Mayorkas urged citizens to remain calm and conserve power. Federal agencies like FEMA coordinated with state and local authorities to manage the on-the-ground consequences. The challenge was not just technical or logistical, but also political and psychological. The assault on Speaker McCarthy and the return of Donald Trump added layers of complexity that no emergency plan could fully anticipate. The government's response had to address the deep fissures in the nation's political psyche and the erosion of trust in its institutions. The coming days and weeks would test the resilience of America's infrastructure and the capacity of its leaders to navigate a crisis that threatened the very fabric of its democratic society. The events of May 22 served as a brutal stress test for American democracy, revealing vulnerabilities that had been underestimated or ignored. The convergence of a sophisticated foreign cyber attack, political violence within the Capitol, and the return of a divisive former leader painted a grim picture of a nation grappling with profound threats. The immediate challenge lies in addressing the multifaceted crises head-on, restoring power, hardening cyber defenses, and confronting political extremism. The calls for Representative Troy Nix's expulsion are a necessary first step, but the deeper malaise of hyperpartisanship requires a sustained effort to remedy. The specter of a constitutional crisis demands unwavering adherence to the rule of law. The strength of American democracy has always been its institutions and its commitment to a peaceful transfer of power. The trials of May 22 are a stark reminder that democracy is not a given. It requires vigilance, courage, and an enduring commitment to its ideals.